Hey guys, welcome to Riding Shotgun. I'm your host, Dr. Lorie Lofquist. This podcast is going to take you for a ride in the passenger seat. So climb aboard so that you can get armed with everything that you need to know in order to make health and wellness decisions that are important for your life and your family's life. So sit back, relax, and let's roll. One of the questions I get often is, how often should I see a chiropractor? Or I hear this commonly, well, I'll call you when I need you. I only really go to the chiropractor when I'm in pain. And to each their own. There are different types of chiropractic care, and that is one aspect of it. But here's the question that I have. Do you only see your dentist when you have cavities or your teeth are falling out? Of course not. Why? Because that's just silly. You go and you see your dentist twice a year. That's how it is. You go and you get regular checkups and you stay on top of your teeth health. So why is it so hard to understand that you should stay on top of your spinal health? Your teeth, granted, they help you chew, they help you eat, they give you a very pretty smile. Your spine makes you stand up straight. It houses your nervous system. Your nervous system then protects the body with the immune system. It controls everything. It runs everything. It's the communication from your brain to the rest of the body. It protects that whole entire network. So I'm not saying that your spine is more important or less important than your teeth, but they should be at least equally important, don't you think? At a bare minimum, I would say keep anybody with a spine. You need to be checked by your chiropractor at least at a bare minimum. Even if you hate the guy twice a year, it needs to happen. And you say, oh, why? That's just because you want us to come back and continue to come as a patient. Yes, I like seeing my patients. I love my patients. Most of my patients absolutely love me. But let's think about this scenario, okay? And I think about this because my husband's a firefighter. He uses his body all the time. And him and his firefighter brothers run the risk every call that they run of injuring themselves. Now, if they injure themselves, the first thing that they have to do is report it to the captain. The captain then reports it to the chief. The chief then, says, yeah, send them over to work comp doc, and the work comp doc checks them out. That's all fine and dandy, but what if they have no record of how their back ever looked? What if they have no record saying, I was healthy prior to this accident? Think about this. Insurance companies do everything. They spend a ton of money just trying not to pay on claims. They have calculators that figure out, is it worth it to litigate this case or should we just pay them? How often have you ever had an insurance company come to you the day after an accident and say, oh my gosh, that was totally our fault. We're going to have to pay for this. And here's everything you're asking for. I bet not one of you can say, yes, I've had that happen to me. Because insurance companies look at it as a risk-reward system. They could risk litigating a case and they may not have to pay as much. And that's a reward for them because it allows them to keep premiums lower. It allows them to keep more customers. So in that previous example, the firefighter goes out. He's helping to lift some patient that had a slip and fall, and the firefighter actually hurts his back. The other firefighter that was with him slipped and fell on the stairs going in. One of them has a chiropractor, and that chiropractor had done their due diligence, and that chiropractor had taken very good notes that said firefighter B had no spinal issues or very minimal spinal issues. Now, firefighter B goes back to his chiropractor and says, I just had this accident. This is what's going on. Now I have shoulder pain. Now I have headaches. I've got a concussion. I've got, hip pain. I've got this, that. The chiropractor does a thorough exam, and look, there's the difference. There is what from pre-accident to post-accident, that's the injury. Now you have a solid case to go back and say, these are my injuries that I need compensated for, or these are my injuries that are going to need to be fixed for me to be 100% whole again. Because that's the whole point of insurance. You want to be 100% whole at the end of it. Accidents are going to happen. They're going to happen to everybody. Everybody at some point or another is going to have to deal with an insurance company. The point is you want to be at the end of it 100% whole. You may not be as healthy as you used to be because situations happen where you end up getting a broken leg, a broken hip, you end up having to have a surgery or something like that, and you'll end up not being as healthy as you were pre-accident, but that's where the pain and suffering comes in, and they compensate you for that. They compensate you to make you whole, and that's what the settlement is. So firefighter B had their chiropractor check them out prior to. They go to their chiropractor every 6 months. So there is a current record of how that firefighter's back was. Firefighter A didn't have their back checked out, has not ever been to a chiropractor, but went to their doctor one time because they were having some low back pain and ended up getting some, Flexeril or some sort of naproxen or maybe even something a little stronger. You better believe that that insurance company will be looking for that because firefighter A now has a history of low back pain, and that's it. They've never got a history that it was resolved, and they've never got a history that now it's okay or it was okay 6 months after that. So that's the big case that I can make for why you should get checked up every 6 months. The other thing that I can tell you is that after an episode of acute care, because a lot of times I have patients come in and it's their first time seeing a chiropractor, they've never seen one before, but now their back pain is so bad, they can't stand it anymore. So the first time I see them, they are in severe pain, they definitely have issues. I put them under a trial of care. I see them for however long it takes to get the treatment better, 2 to 6 weeks usually, somewhere in there. And then we do a re-exam of their condition. When I re-examine their condition, at that point, I can knock diagnoses off. If you're no longer positive for this condition or that condition, I can take that diagnosis off your record. So now it's not there. It shows as resolved. So where you had a disc issue before, we adjusted it. We did therapy on it. We allowed it to heal. You came back in for your re-exam. You're no longer positive for any disc issues. You're not showing any signs of disc pain or disc problems. Then that condition now becomes resolved. So if, heaven forbid, you go and you get hurt 2 months after that, you have a clear record that that issue was resolved. And that's what you need to protect yourself. This society is all about CYA. So it makes perfect sense to me that you should be checked at a bare minimum every 6 months, a bare minimum. Now, if you were really going to be serious about it, you would want to be checked at least quarterly. And then for active athletes or even teenagers, people that are very, very active playing sports and things like that, I highly recommend that you get seen monthly, especially during your sports season. Though most athletes I know it's year round. They find something to do in the off season. So anytime that you're extremely active, I highly recommend getting a checkup monthly. And that does not just mean adults. Children should be checked out too. Children all the way from birth all the way up. If you think about this, when you're a toddler, how often do you fall? I mean, a toddler is falling all over the place, left, right, sideways, up and down. So a toddler is doing probably more spinal compression and spinal damage just by bouncing around. Now, they don't have the super tight muscles. They don't stay sitting for 8 hours a day like adults do. But children should even be checked out monthly to quarterly to make sure that you are catching things before they become a big problem. So simply, what you want to ask yourself is, how much protection do I want? Going to visit a chiropractor just for a wellness check takes very little time. You do it every 6 months, you've got yourself covered. If you want a little ounce of prevention, you do it quarterly. Make it a scheduled thing. You do the same thing with your dentist. You do the same thing with your yearly medical physical. You need to do the same thing with a chiropractor as well. If you have any questions or want to discuss this any further, feel free to call me. My number is 636-825-6555. I always look forward to talking to my patients and my subscribers, so please feel free to comment down below. Let me know what you think. When was the last time you saw your chiropractor? Are you due? If you are, make sure you give them a call. And if you haven't, good for you. Way to protect yourself. All right, we'll talk to you later. Thanks. Bye.
Hey guys, what a ride. I hope you enjoyed it. Now that you have been armed with that knowledge, I want you to go out and apply it. Know someone who could benefit from this info? Please share it with them. We'd love to hear from you. Call or text us at 636-678-4342. Or better yet, stop in and say hi the next time you're around our Fenton, Missouri office.